So giving your beans and veggies a good rinse will be crucial when it comes to working with these canned ingredients. Giving them a good wash enables you to control the sodium content that is going into whatever you are making. Also, if you're hoping to add more flavor into your meal, vegetable broth is a good way to remove the canned taste from all the vegetables that you are making. You just have to submerge the vegetables into the vegetable broth and it will take the canned taste right out.
Hi, welcome back. Again, my name is Sue and I'm here to show people, refugees new to Windsor, how to use food from the food bank well. Today we're going to be making two different items. The first one is a tuna mushroom quiche and the second is bean taco soup. So, many of you, I'm sure, have seen canned tuna and not known what to do with it. So this recipe, you get a can of tuna, open her up, and just drain it to get as much moisture out of it as you possibly can. For those of you who make pie crusts, it can make a good one. Hats off to you. I am not really good at that. So I just bought a pre-made pie crust. You can get them in any grocery store for a relatively good price. You're going to take your tuna and just flake it in the bottom of the quiche pan. And take a little bit of cut up red pepper, just enough to give it color, and a little bit of canned mushrooms. If you'd rather use fresh mushrooms, that's fine, but the food bank does give you canned mushrooms, and this is a good choice. Just gonna put that in. And then we're going to take cheese. This is Tex-Mex cheese, but if you prefer mozzarella, cheddar, whatever type you like, you can just use the cheese. And you're sprinkling in about a half cup of cheese. We'll have the recipe online so that you can actually see what the measurements are. I have 3 eggs in this bowl, and I'm just going to whip them up. Put a small little dash of pepper, not an awful lot, just about like that. Whip it up with about half a cup of milk. There we go. Now this pie pan is a little bit small. You can get a deep dish pie pan if you'd rather. But this one's a little bit small, so this might overflow it, but we'll soon see. And you just pour your egg mixture right over the top. Give it a little bit of a wiggle to get everything settled just right. And then we're going to put it in the oven, 375 for half an hour. Okay, so we're going to go back. Our quiche is now finished in the oven, so I'm just going to bring it out and take a slice and show you what it looks like at the end. So here we have the tuna mushroom quiche. So I'm just going to give this a slice. Unfortunately, I don't have a pie lifter with me today, so we're going to improvise and use, oh, it's not working perfectly though, and use a spoon. So there we have it, the tuna mushroom quiche. second recipe we're making today is a vegetarian taco soup. Once again, these ingredients, except for the corn chips, are things that you would receive from the food bank anytime you go down. So we have stewed tomatoes, canned corn, all kinds of different beans, the black bean, kidney bean, and pinto beans. This is lentils. So all those things are things that are regular ingredients that you would get from the food bank. So we're going to start making our soup. The first thing we do is put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of your pan. I would say probably just a teaspoon. Some onions that have been diced up and put them on the bottom. And we're just going to let those cook for a little while. This particular soup is called taco soup. When I was making it, it's very, very hearty. And it doesn't call for a lot of broth. But as you see, as I start cooking, I do add broth to it because I found without the broth, it's just too thick. So we're going to add to the soup about a cup of corn. And a cup of kidney beans, black beans, pinto beans, and not as much lentil, about a half a cup. Stir. All of the beans, before you put them in the soup, you should drain the liquid off of them and give them a rinse to get the salt off of that so that your soup is not too salty. We're going to put into this some tomato, stewed tomatoes, whether they're whole or chopped up. And we're going to put a whole can of stewed tomatoes in that. So as you can see, that to me looks more like a stew than it would a soup. Let it cook away. The next ingredient is totally up to you. It's hot peppers. So if you are someone who does not like spice, I would probably only put about half of a teaspoon. If you're someone who tends to like spicy food, a teaspoon still is probably plenty. And if you want extra, you can always put it in on the top as a garnish. The other item that's going to go in this soup is about half a teaspoon of garlic, half a teaspoon of onion salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon of cumin, and then we're going to put in a whole package of taco seasoning. Now this one is hot and spicy. So obviously it's going to make your soup spicier, but you could get just mild or medium taco seasoning. Put that in. And just let the soup cook away. As you can see again, it is very thick, a very hearty soup. So I'm just going to let that cook. And we're going to put in 2 cups of broth. If you don't have broth and all you have is water, that's perfectly fine. But the broth will honestly give it more flavor. And just thin your soup out a little bit. So we're just going to let that soup cook for a little while and then come back and we'll show you how to top it. So our soup is done and it's looking like a pretty hearty, nice soup. When you finish your soup, it's totally up to you what you'd like to put on top. We have green onion cut up, corn chips, sour cream, and cheese. Myself, I really like the sour cream, so we're just going to put a little splop on top there. And some cheese. Again, this is totally up to you what type of cheese you use. This is just a mozzarella cheese. Just a little topping. Some green onion. And who doesn't like corn chips? And you sprinkle on top, and you've got a nice fall soup. For those who really are missing meat and you feel like you like to have the soup, but you really like meat, you could always put chicken in it or a nice chorizo sausage. So that's totally up to you. But for those who are vegetarian, this is perfect. And honestly, it's such a hearty soup. I find it's plenty without the meat.